Since Curt Cignetti took over as the head coach at Indiana, the Hoosiers have been one of the most dominant teams in all of college football. He brought a lot of talent with him from James Madison, and many of those guys have stepped up in major ways for IU. One of those players is wide receiver Elijah Sarratt. Sarratt is one of those players that does everything really well at the position, but for whatever reason never gets the national attention that I think he deserves. Today, we are going to be talking about how high Elijah Sarratt can be taken and what his ultimate ceiling is at the NFL level. But hey guys, if you guys are new to the channel, consider hitting that like and subscribe button. It helps me out a ton and lets me know that you guys are enjoying the videos. Comment down below which prospects you guys want to see me talk about in a future video just like this one, and without further ado, let's get into it. Elijah Sarratt has a really awesome story and is a guy that really had to fight and scrap his way to where he is today. Sarratt was a player who was very under-recruited out of high school and ended up enrolling at FCS program St. Francis. As a true freshman, he really impressed, posting 672 yards and 13 touchdowns on the year. He entered the transfer portal as a sophomore and ended up heading to James Madison, where Curt Cignetti was the head coach at the time. He was incredible in 2023 and ended up being on the All-Sun Belt team. From there, he entered the portal again and followed Cignetti to Indiana, where each of the last 2 seasons, Sarratt has been one of the best receivers in the country. In 2024, Sarratt had 53 receptions, 957 yards, and 8 touchdowns, and surprised people when he came back to school for one more year, but he's picked up right where he left off. So far this year, he has 45 receptions for 609 yards and 10 touchdowns, and this is a guy who has proven he can be adaptable, he can compete at any level, and I think NFL teams are really going to like the person. The first thing that really sticks out with Sarratt is his route running ability. Throughout his college career, Sarratt has been given the nickname Waffle House because he is seemingly always open. The way he separates is very nuanced, and I think he's a very smart wide receiver. His ability to plant his foot in the ground and stop and go on a dime makes him one of the most difficult players in the country to try and cover. He's not the shiftiest player in the world, but he understands angles, he understands leverage, and he knows how to win at the wide receiver position. He runs slot fades better than any wide receiver in this draft class, but I also think he runs great comebacks, digs, and he does a fantastic job of playing with control. His body control is awesome, and he always seems to understand where he needs to be, where he needs to get, and I think he's a very nuanced route runner who knows how to generate space between him and the defensive back. Sarratt has excellent size for the wide receiver position as well, and is a guy that can play on the boundary at the NFL level. He's listed at 6'2", 213 pounds, and he plays with physicality and uses his size to his advantage, particularly at the catch point. Sarratt has a 58.5% contested catch rate throughout his career, which is a really good number for a college wide receiver, and I think that is a tool that will translate well to the NFL level. He's got the size and he knows how to use it as that X receiver for the Hoosiers. The other thing that Sarratt does such a good job of is using his hands. He's a natural hands catcher who does an excellent job of high pointing the football and coming back to the ball in the air. He's very strong at the catch point, and not only does it show in the contested catch rate, which we already discussed, but his drop rate is very, very low. Sarratt has a career 3.9% drop rate. This is a player who catches almost everything thrown his way, and when you mix that with his route running and his body control, there are so many little things that he does at the wide receiver position that I think NFL teams are looking for, and I think it makes him a very translatable player to the next level. While there is a lot to like about Sarratt as a prospect, there are a couple of pretty glaring weaknesses in his game, and one of them is his overall speed. I just don't think Elijah Sarratt is a super dynamic athlete, and it shows in terms of trying to separate vertically. He doesn't have a very good top gear, and I expect him to run in the low 4.5s. I think after the catch as well, Sarratt's lack of athleticism really shows. Throughout his career, Sarratt averages just 5.3 yards after catch, and he's just not a super dynamic or twitchy athlete. I don't think it's the end-all be-all, and I still think he can be a very reliable NFL receiver, but I don't think he has very good vertical speed, and he doesn't really have the ability to stack defenders deep. I also think because of the lack of explosiveness and really elite athleticism, Sarratt really struggles against press coverage. For one thing, I don't think he has a very good release package off the line of scrimmage, and he's not able to win with his first step. It really felt like there were times where defenders were able to really dominate the rep because he just didn't know how to create space in press coverage. Now, there are still times where he's able to lay on a really good route and create space using his body, but his release package against press coverage is very underwhelming, and I think it could be an issue for him at the next level. Elijah Sarratt is one of my favorite wide receivers in this draft class. He does a lot of things really, really well. He's got great hands, he's a very good route runner, he's got good size, and he's a good contested catch weapon. I think NFL teams are going to love his adaptability, his story, and his overall ability to separate at the wide receiver position. I have Elijah Sarratt as my number 6 wide receiver in this draft class, and a player that has a top 50 grade for me. I think a lot of people are going to overthink the lack of elite athleticism, but he has shown time and time again he gets open, he makes the right play, and I think he's going to translate really well to the next level as a result. In terms of a scheme fit, I think Sarratt is more of your prototypical possession X wide receiver. He has the size, he plays with the necessary physicality that you look for, and I think he can be a boundary weapon that can be a chain mover at the next level. That's one of the most underrated parts of Sarratt's game. When he catches the ball, more often than not, it goes for a first down, and I think that is a tool that is going to translate very well and that he can use to his advantage. He can be a chain mover, he can be a possession X receiver, and I think that's good in the NFL. I think he can be a good X receiver at the next level. My player comparison for Elijah Sarratt is Arizona Cardinals wide receiver Michael Wilson. Wilson isn't the sexiest name in the world, but he's a very good weapon who was a my guy a few years ago. He's got size on the boundary, he's an excellent contested catch threat, and is a very good route runner and separator for his size. I think Sarratt will play a very similar role, but I think he has the chance to be even more of an impactful player in an offense because he doesn't come with the injury history that Michael Wilson has, and I do think his hands are a little bit better. Elijah Sarratt is always open. He is such a good separator, he has excellent hands, and is a guy that I think can and will be a starting boundary wide receiver in the NFL. And ultimately, I believe that Elijah Sarratt will be a second-round pick in the 2026 NFL Draft.